Any floor will do, fuck it.
Let's get dangerous.
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise,
He did the mash,
he did the monster mash.
the monster mash.
It was a graveyard
He
smash.
did the mash,
It caught on in a flash.
he did the mash.
He did the monster mash. From my laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast. The ghouls all came from their humble abode to get a jolt from my electrode.
They did the mash,
They did the monster
the
mash.
monster mash.
It was a graveyard
They
smash.
did the mash,
It caught on in a flash.
they did the mash.
They did the monster mash. The zombies were having fun.
Finish you,
The party had just begun.
finish you.
The guests
After Splatterhouse 3 in 1995, the series just seemed to fall off the face of the earth. Oh, sure, there were a few references to several other Namco games, and a chibi spin-off for the Famicom called Wanpaku Graffiti, but we're not here to talk about those. Nope, as the title says, we're talking about the remake for Splatterhouse made in 2010, but first, I should address something I forgot to bring up last time. As I said last time, the changes made between the arcade and TurboGrafx 16 versions of the original game, any censorship was just a result of hardware limitations, but the biggest difference was the color of the terror mask. In the original arcade, it was white as homage to Friday the 13th, but when it was brought over to home consoles, they changed it to red to avoid any copyright issues with Paramount Pictures. With that said, the Splatterhouse remake was announced in 2007, but didn't come out until 2010, with a total development of 3 years. And here we are complaining about Kingdom Hearts 3 taking almost 6 years since its initial announcement. It was originally supposed to be out in 2009, but some behind-the-scenes tumult caused Namco to take the game from developer Bottle Rocket Studios and finish the game in-house. The result? Let's take a look. Much like God of War, part of the story leading up to the main game is told through flashbacks scattered throughout the game, so we'll take a look at those first. Rick Taylor and his girlfriend Jennifer Willis are on their way to the seclusive West Mansion just outside the town of Arkham, more Lovecraft parallels it seems, to interview the reclusive Dr. Henry West for a college newspaper. Well, more accurately, only Jennifer was invited. Rick's just tagging along, because, though I have to admit, a crazy necrobiologist's house seems like a weird place to pop the question. Well, upon entering the house, while Rick is distracted by some Aztec sarcophagi, Jennifer notices a portrait of a woman who looks identical to her. That's when West shows up flanked by two monsters, and they take Jennifer. Rick tries to stop them, but... Ow!
Oh, look at that. I've been impaled.
During the struggle, one of the coffins is knocked open, revealing the terror mask, now designed to look more like a skull, and voiced by the king himself, Jam fucking Cummings.
Kneel before Jim.
And this is where the game really begins, with Rick drowning in a pool of his own blood and the terror mask contacting him telepathically, telling him that his only hope to survive and save Jennifer is to put the mask on. Rick decides to listen to the disembodied voice of the great Kenobi Master Spooks, and puts the mask on, triggering a painful-looking transformation into a form we're all a bit more familiar with, but still keeping that dweeby-sounding voice provided by Josh Keaton. I'm sure you probably will prefer a transformation to something like this. Rick and the mask soon catch up with West and Jennifer as they pass through a portal to another dimension, and though he doesn't say it outright, West seems to recognize Rick, or at least the mask.
The dynamic duo follow them into a ruined world that the mask explains that the world should West succeed in its plans. What are his plans? Oh boy. Strap in.
Surgeon's hands.
Okay, so as revealed in an earlier scene, West is in fact immortal and has been alive since at least the colonial times. His reasons for his immortality are because he made a pact with a group of demons called the Corrupted to not only get back at the man who murdered his wife Lenora, the woman who looks exactly like Jennifer, but to also find a way to bring Lenora back to life. And again, since Jennifer is a spitting image of his late wife, Wes is going to use her in a ritual to bring Lenora back. This ritual will also bring the Corrupted into this world, hence this version of the Big Apple looking so fucked up, with Corrupted running around and a mounted Statue of Liberty. That's the weirdest thing I've seen all week. This is the main plot portion of the story. Rick and the Mask going through portals to different points in time, the past and the future, while chasing West and Jennifer. But this is also a race against time, because the ritual can only be completed on the fifth and final phase of the eclipse. While running around the carnival level in the Extreme Park, the Mask tells Rick that the ritual also requires a sacrifice, which Rick assumes to mean a virgin sacrifice. Turns out he's wrong, as the Mask reveals when the portal to the Corrupted world is open, as the sacrifice required was 10,000 souls. And guess how many monsters did Rick destroy throughout the journey? This all ties into the Mask story. See, he and Rick have a bit of a symbiotic relationship. Rick needs the Mask to stay alive, and the Mask needs Rick because, well, Rick has legs. The Mask earlier realized just how twisted and evil West was, and he also wants vengeance against the Corrupted for having a hand in destroying the Aztec people who worship the Mask as a benevolent god. In the Mask's own words,
I want the Corrupted to know that it was me stopped him.
During the fight with the Corrupted, a stray soul enters Jennifer's body. Now earlier, the Mask told Rick that he would come off Rick's face once Jennifer was safe, but loophole abuse kicks in because while Jennifer's body might be safe, that's not Jennifer's soul, but in fact, Lenora. So Wes was successful in bringing his wife back, just not in the way he wanted.
And that's it. That's where the game ends.
I guess the idea would be to leave it open for a sequel like they did with the original game, but sadly a new Splatterhouse game seems unlikely due to this game's rather middling score and the fact that critics didn't like it because to them it's just a mindless button masher. And while that may be true for the first few levels, you soon have to begin using some strategy if you don't want to end up a corpse on the floor. This includes a dodge mechanic, an ability to sap life from enemies, utilizing Rick's monster transformation if and when it's available, and at later levels of the game when the enemies become stronger or take more of a beating, utilizing the glory kill mechanic known as the splatter kill. When an enemy starts glowing red and black, you have a few seconds to utilize the glory kill and bring them down. These include ripping off arms, ripping off torsos, and fisting. But honestly, the best part of these is hearing all the clips that Terra Mask drops. Speaking of which, I have to be honest, it's a little odd hearing Jim Cummings with a potty mouth. I mean, this is Darkwing Duck we're talking about here.
So much suffering. It's beautiful. Let's get dangerous.
But back to the combat, it can get pretty hectic when there's a lot of enemies on screen, and it gets even worse when the camera pulls back and you lose track of where Rick is. And the later levels, when the enemies are tougher, if you go in and just start mashing buttons, well, get ready to see that game over screen followed by the long loading screens. It's almost as bad as Sonic 06. This could have something to do with the fact that Namco took over the development. They had to rush it out. While this game is much more polished than Sonic 06, there are still a few quirks that you may notice. Sound glitches, unfinished animations, the loading screens. But to make up for that, when you're in the middle of a big fight, heavy metal starts splitting, leading to what exactly?
The most rocket beat out!
Push my fingers until my eyes. It's the only thing that slowly stops me. But it's made of all the things I have to take. See, but I don't get it. Don't you think maybe we can put it on credit? Don't you think I can take it, jump on out of it? I get stupid boy. It's all the same as ain't living it, but I don't.
It certainly makes fighting some of these enemies that much better, and it also works for the boss fights such as this doll, this gorilla looking thing, and the returning Biggie Man.
Wait! I know this guy! Yeah, we are screwed.
And if you're wondering if you fight Wes, well, stop wondering now, because you don't.
No shit.
All Rick does in the cutscene is rip off Wes' arm and fix slap the guy with it. But you won't always be baiting the shit out of everything in sight. Some rooms are puzzle rooms that require you to fulfill a certain requirement, such as putting enough monsters on the carnival way, or fitting enough monsters to a mouth on the wall. Yep, nothing unusual here. Like the original game, while you can use your fists, you also get a variety of weapons to use on your rampage to save your girl, such as a nail-ridden 2x4, the Great Communicator, and the boomstick.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Yes, yes it does. The upside of all this violence, well, outside pure catharsis, is that you get blood from slaughtering everything in your path. You can use that blood to purchase new moves and abilities in the game's upgrade screen, and this blood also helps to heal you because you will get your ass kicked and have pieces of flesh ripped off. Looks more than a little painful. Sadly, this is probably the last chance we'll get to do anything like this in the Splatterhouse universe. As I said earlier, a new Splatterhouse game seems unlikely due to the middling Metacritic score and due to the behind-the-scenes issues. Most of the development team was given the axe, which sucks, because you can tell that they really put their all into this game despite the bugs and glitches that resulted from the game changing development team 3/4 of the way through. But for what we got, I'm glad it exists, and this really is the last Splatterhouse related thing to be made. I'm glad they went out on a high note. Once more, the Halloween Spooktacular has been a lot of fun, even if this one was a bit shorter than last year. Next year should be a bit longer as I'll be going into the world of Silent Hill, but for now,
it's time to bid October goodbye. But I'm not done with horror-related games just yet. Next time we meet, I'm going to make up for this year's celebration being so short by taking a look at last year's smash hit, Doom. See you then.